Hey, Natalie.
Hello.
We are so excited to have you with us today. Natalie is one of our favorite people. She knows horror inside and out. Welcome to the Scare Guy Show live, everybody. Coming to you straight from the heart of spooky Hollywood, California. We consider ourselves the center of the horror universe here. Here on the Scare Guy, we as filmmakers discuss all things that are scary fun, including haunted events, horror conventions, and scary films. We got all three this weekend. You can find our website at thescareguy.com. My name is Jim, one of your horror hosts. And who do we have sitting next to me in the Tiki Horror Lounge?
It's Michael Myers. Just kidding. Cheeseman here, one of the founding members of the Scare Guy screenwriter and one of the social media people for the Scare Guy. Ready to talk horror and stuff. It's been a while.
And of course, our very special guest, and we call it, she's a horror host with us, not a guest anymore. She's a horror host.
Ooh, a horror host.
Yes.
So exciting.
All right. Natalie, why don't you introduce yourself?
I'm Natalie Michelli. I'm a filmmaker in Los Angeles. I have an incredible horror comedy that you can catch now on Peacock called Fear Inc.
It is an incredible comedy. Who stars in it?
We have Abigail Breslin, Lucas Neff, Caitlin Stacy, who you will recognize from all of the Smile trailers and billboards and posters, and she's everywhere right now. So,
oh, really?
And one of my absolute favorites, Chris Marquette. He is just the best. So it's a really fun cast.
Nice.
Yeah.
Chris, we saw at HorrorCon.
Oh, really? Oh, because he was Freddy versus Jason.
Yeah, he was there. He was doing some signing stuff, and we told him like we should bring him on the show sometime and have you on with him. And
he's so fun. Yeah. I love him. Yeah. He's my absolute favorite.
Actually, the way we left it was, Chris is so good. It was so good to see you. Blah blah blah. We'll have Natalie reach out.
Did you really?
Yes, and he said, good.
That's so funny.
So he's looking forward to that. So on tonight's show, we are talking about 3 things that all involve Michael Myers, who is my favorite horror slasher of the genre. The 3 things we're talking about tonight, of course, Halloween Horror Nights Hollywood, which featured a very special tribute to Michael Myers, a house there. Also, we are going to talk briefly about Son of Monsterpalooza, a horror convention out here in Hollywood, California, that had a big showing of cast from the Hollywood series. And then we are, of course, the major part of our show tonight, we are going to dive into Hollywood Ends.
Hollywood Ends or Hollywood?
I'm
Halloween Ends.
Halloween Ends. Hollywood should be held in account for that.
Yeah, it could be the end of Hollywood as well.
I think it maybe should be the end of Hollywood doing the Halloween franchise. I kind of come from the belief that maybe small independent kind of fan films should be made in the original kind of Halloween style, because I think the low budget style works better than the big commercial version for Halloween.
Wow, are you guys kind of revealing your opinions right up front?
I mean, if any of your listeners have tuned in previously, my feelings were not hidden with the response to the trailer. So
no, yeah, and to be completely honest, we're not going to be saying anything that that the vast majority of fans aren't feeling right now. Although I was kind of surprised when I went online and found some other opinions, like David. He's a friend of ours from the sister trilogy. He loves Halloween 1, 2, and H2O as the perfect trilogy of Halloween films. I agree with him. He loved the film. David, you are invited to come on the show and talk about that.
I would love to hear his perspective.
Yeah. So anyways, first of all, we are going to jump into something that happened this past week. Halloween Horror Nights at Universal Studios Hollywood. They also have it in Orlando, Florida. We just lost Luke. So anyways, this is our picture of those of you who are watching live. are watching the recording, this is the picture of us before. This is our prior picture, before picture going in. Our group got a little bit larger as we went through the night. But I just want to ask you, wait, a little bit of history first. This was the 22nd event, this 22nd Hollywood Horror Nights in Hollywood, California. Question, which one came first, the Hollywood version or the Orlando version?
I'd say Orlando.
That's what I'd guess too.
Because Orlando is celebrating its 31st edition, but no. We were first out here in Hollywood. We were the first. Universal Studios Florida Halloween Horror Nights. Which one came first, that one or this one? It is this one. When I say this one, folks, I'm talking about California. Universal Studios decided to hold a Halloween event in 1986. And in true horror movie fashion, it is known as the tragic year of the first Halloween Horror Nights. Taking a cue from Knott's Berry Farm, which had a very successful Halloween event for 14 years, Universal started Halloween Horror Nights with a logo of a jack-o'-lantern being sawed in half with a chainsaw. Kind of cool. The signature attraction, of course, was the Terror Tram, which would be a nighttime version of the Backlot Tour, only with scare actors jumping out and attacking you. Unfortunately, during one night, a scare actor got a little over-enthusiastic in his performance and fell between two of the tram cars and was crushed to death. Universal would not have a Halloween event for over 6 years, and they discontinued any of the scare actor attacks moving toward the trams. You'll notice today you don't have any actors that
makes so much sense. I had an entire conversation with my brother about how cool it would be to have some of the scare actors coming and attacking the tram and like stopping along the way. And that makes a lot of sense why that opportunity is not taken now.
Isn't that crazy to think about that? And, to their credit, if they were a lesser organization, back in the day, we had a death. I'm thank goodness they don't like play up the fact that we had a death to start the Halloween horror.
Yeah.
But it's I've always wondered kind of like, why did they start in Florida? It felt like they started in Florida has 31 events. We have 22 out here in California. And so they had one like 6 years later. They had it for a couple of years. They took a couple of years off. They came back. And I guess it just wasn't catching on until about 2006, where it caught on pretty strong. And it has been a mainstay ever since. So let's talk about Halloween Horror Nights. I just want to know, Natalie, you first. What was your overall impression about this year?
Well, I learned a lot of lessons this year at Halloween Horror Nights. I think in past years, I've tried to go earlier in the season, definitely in September to kind of beat the crowds. I personally enjoy going through the mazes at my own pace and giving some breathing room between my group and the group in front of us. So I'm not seeing every single point where there's a scare actor jumping out. And this year didn't really allow for that because it was a sold out night and it was incredibly crowded. Yeah. The lines were very long, so we weren't able to accomplish as much as we wanted to accomplish. It's still, I will say, the energy of being in that space and walking through that archway is still like I'm having a great night. No matter what ends up happening, I'm really happy to be there.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And just real quick, Jonathan Wilkinson, hello. He is chiming in right now. Hey, Jonathan, if you get a chance to jump on the link that we sent you, we would love to have you join the show. And for those of you who don't know, Jonathan Wilkinson is the guy right in the middle, right next to me, right above Natalie. He actually came in from Colorado this year to join us at Halloween Horror Nights, and we had a blast. It was an absolute blast. Cheeseman, what was your overall impression?
Yeah, it's always fun, like Natalie said, always something kind of to look forward to. But yeah, it did seem a little more crowded at times, or the line descriptions weren't always accurate. Like we waited a lot longer on some of the stuff we did and had it for, especially the Blumhouse one that ended up being a lot longer than expected. So that ended up making us not be able to do like at least one more before heading out. But kind of like what Natalie was saying, I like to sometimes stall a little bit just so I can kind of get the room to myself. And this time it seemed like even if you pulled out a camera to take a picture, like the Bates Motel sign, like within a half a second, someone's like, keep moving, please. Like, it's just like, come on. Can someone just take a picture for like 1 second without getting yelled at, you know?
Yeah. It's almost like it's their sellout capacity limit probably should be adjusted down a bit, because when every single maze is at 120 minutes, that's okay. When every maze is at like 120 minutes, it's like, it's now getting to a slightly unenjoyable experience for everybody who has a ticket there.
Yeah, I agree. And one thing I wanted to, let me see, we have a couple of comments here. Hey, Andy Harrow, good to see you. And as always, Lily, it's good to see you as well tonight. The one thing that I noticed, I've never been when it was this crowded before. And this was the most crowded, I think. And by the way, for those of you who are listening, if you want to check out the video, we're showing kind of a video of one of our walkthroughs, one of the scare zones there. But it was unusually crowded, and it translated over to the tickets as well. The tickets were a little bit more expensive this year. One thing that we usually do it, and Natalie was right. She was calling me on it. Like,
that is my favorite thing to hear. Can I hear it one more time?
Okay, Natalie was right.
I love it.
What I usually do, and I know I do it in Orlando, is I wait until about 11 o'clock when I'm there, and at 11 o'clock they have, let me remove that. Wait a second. They have what's known as the late night front of the pass. Front of line pass, and it usually costs about somewhere between $59 to $79, and you get to go front of line for all the attractions. You get one trip to the front, and that's how we finish it. This time we went there at 11 o'clock, and it was $130. It had basically almost doubled in price. And I was like, wait a second, that's ridiculous. There's no way that it cost that much. And of course, the guy there was like, oh yes, it has. And I'm like, no. It jumped way up this year. So
I didn't look at pricing earlier in September. I kind of wish I did, to kind of see the difference between last year and this year. I know obviously the closer you get to Halloween, the certain nights of the week, it is going to be more expensive. And so even our general admission ticket was definitely more than what it's been in past years. Say if we went earlier in October or even in September on like a Sunday or a weeknight or whatever it may be. So I am curious what that front of line pass would have been earlier for us.
Well, here's what I was able to do. They had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They had basically 9 haunted houses. That includes the Terror Tram. These are the haunted houses they had. They had Halloween, Horrors of Blumhouse. Is it Blumhouse? Blumhouse. The Weekend, Bizarre. Terror Tram, Nope, which featured Nope and Us. Legends Collide, which was about the Universal monsters. Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Then La Llorona, Scarecrow, The Reaping, and Hotel from Hell. We were able to do, without a front of the line pass, Horrors of Blumhouse, The Weekend, Terror Tram, which took a long time, Legends Collide, Killer Clowns from Outer Space, and Hotel from Hell. So we were able to do 6 of them. I had to look down and count. So we missed. Here's my biggest disappointment, and those of you who know me know that this is probably a dagger to the heart. We missed Scarecrow, The Reaping, which is all about the pumpkins. We missed La Llorona, which I've been in before, and we missed Halloween.
That was my biggest disappointment. Even though I've done it. Go ahead, Natalie.
I am sad to miss the Halloween maze, because it's, I do love the franchise, despite how I feel today. I do love the franchise, and I would have loved to have been through that maze. The wait just kind of was the longest wait, I feel like, most of the night. And when it has been a consistent maze, even if it's been kind of rethought, several times of the amount of times I've seen it, I know what I'm going to get in there. It was kind of fun. I wanted to see the new stuff that I hadn't seen.
Yeah.
And so, like Universal Monsters, all of that, I kind of wanted to see and experience those. So that was a little bit going into like my thinking of what mazes we were going to go through.
Right.
What was your favorite thing you guys saw while we were there?
I know what mine is. I'm looking at it right now.
Oh, for Nope. Yeah. That was fun, but it wasn't as scary as I wanted it to be.
Oh, it wasn't scary at all.
No, it wasn't scary at all. And so it was a weird combination of all of Jordan Peele's movies. So it was, Nope. They even had a little bit of Get Out with one of the Us actors kind of stirring a, teacup.
Oh,
and
yeah,
I was like, okay, like I kind of get it. And I think there were opportunities for it to be scary and fun. But it just, I don't know. I don't know if it was executed the best. I would rather have there been a separate maze or a separate section that kind of was just, we were living in Us and we were, because that whole, I guess did they have that the last year? With like the basement with all the bunnies and all that kind of stuff. That would have been fun for us.
I kind of remember like more Us stuff, but the reason I liked, I agree with you. It wasn't very scary. Nope was not scary at all. I just thought it was cool to have the entire set from the movie there on the back lot that we could walk through.
That I loved as like a filmmaker and like an appreciation for that. That was amazing. Yep. But was that scary? No,
not at all. And Jonathan Wilkinson, who he says the Death Eaters was one of his favorite things. And I actually, let me see, I think I have a little clip right here. It's going to be loud. Bam. I'm going to turn the sound off. We don't need to hear it as we go through and scream and holler. And well, there I am.
They didn't make noise anyway.
This was cool. This was Diagon Alley, which this is the first year that it's been open because it's usually been closed for Halloween Horror Nights. And
Second year.
It up. Oh, it was open before?
It was open last year.
Huh. Mm-hmm. Did I even go last year? I don't ever remember seeing the Death Eaters before like this. There's Jonathan.
I don't think they had Death Eaters, but the area was open and they had all the kind of light show on the castle.
Oh, that's right. That's right. But I love the fact that the Death. Look at this. It's just kind of cool. It's its own little classy scare zone. I thought it was an awesome way to make use of the Harry Potter characters, the scariest part of the Harry Potter characters. It was cool.
Sure. Yeah. I don't know those guys. Were they in the first movie? I don't think so.
Wait a second. I learned this was the first time I knew this. You've only seen one movie in the Harry Potter franchise, right?
I know. Only one.
Well,
see, is it called something specific? I called it the castle. Is it called Hogwarts? Is that Hogwarts?
It's Harry Potter and I don't know. But anyways, no, my favorite part I think was Horrors of Blumhouse, which was very good. I loved it. One of the scariest parts to me is you're going through the Horrors of I'm trying to see if we have. I thought I downloaded a movie. Luke sent me a movie of Horrors of Blumhouse.
Yeah, I saw you guys post a movie and I was a little pissed because I missed that one.
It was unsettling to say the least. It was kind of.
Well, because I guess the whole thing was not Black Phone, right? It was a combination of things.
Yeah. Well, it's a combination of two things. What was the first one, Jim?
In the Horrors of Blumhouse, it was Black Phone and what was it? Wait, I haven't. It's Black.
The first one didn't look. I don't think I saw the first one.
It was mainly Black Phone. Oh, and Happy Death Day.
Oh,
was it?
Didn't they do Happy Death Day?
Happy Death Day, was it? Because I would have recognized that mask. Because that was the baby.
That was a baby.
Okay, you guys talk amongst yourselves. I'm gonna look it up real quick.
Well, I'm gonna say I'm a little upset that I didn't get through that maze. It was funny. I was walking out and I was looking at the line and it said 55 minutes, and I was like, "Do I do it?" And we made the decision to leave, and you guys
went
in.
Freaky.
Oh, Freaky, the Vince Vaughn movie.
Yes.
Yeah. That's not really a scary movie. Like Black Phone is a great choice.
Yeah.
But Freaky is not so much.
It is odd. Yeah. It's more of
a
comedy,
weird choice,
isn't it?
But that's the one that the line ended up being a lot longer than we thought. So you
said it had
another
like
half
minutes.
an hour to that time.
I would have been pissed and I would have bailed, or I would have been angry through the whole thing, which wouldn't have been a great idea. So
yeah, I was kind of like not happy about how much time it took going through it. So.
Yeah.
I thought it was all right though. And I like especially the kitchen scene, where he's like sitting in the chair. That looked really cool.
I was about to say that was my favorite
scene.
part. Like I thought that was a wax figure when you first walked in because his skin, because he kind of barely had his shirt open and it looked like wax. It didn't look like a real person. And then you get in and it jumps up at you. And like, oh man, when stuff like that happens, that's the best. That is the best.
From your video, it looked legitimately like Ethan Hawke, like the same body type, the same chest. That's why I would imagine if it wasn't moving, it probably looked like a wax figure.
I thought it was fake.
Ethan Hawke. Yeah. It was I was like, is it Ethan Hawke in that?
Yeah.
And how amazing if I were an actor in a movie like that, I would absolutely ask to come do that one night or two.
Can you? I bet you watch Ethan Hawke will show up one night. That would be the best. Can you imagine?
I would 1000% do that if I were him. How fun would that be?
Yeah. And they had Killer Clowns from Outer Space, which has been there before, but I still thought was pretty amazing.
That guy was creepy.
Fun.
This guy right here, he was not
the guy sitting down because he just stared at me and stuff. And then I'd like turn around and he's still looking at me. And then I pretty much went into the next room and like then looked back again and he was still staring at me. I was like,
yeah, because he followed you out of the room.
Into it.
Yeah, it was good. And then
I think that was the one that had one walkway when you're walking through that all 3 walls had like fabric on it. So you're like, something's going to pop out.
Oh, yeah.
And you're like looking at each one of which one it's going to be. And all of them came out. And I flipped out on that one.
Yeah. The triple scares were one of the best things that they did there. And my favorite one was the classic Universal Monster one. And especially at the end where they did, all 3 kind of like one would scare you, then another, and they do the triple scare thing. Like that was really cool.
Oh, right at the end of Universal Monsters. Yeah. That one was really amazing. Here's a couple other shots. This is just me with a pumpkin decoration, which was kind of cool. They did some really cool decorations. It looked pretty amazing. This decoration, do you recognize the wolf right there?
No.
It's from American Werewolf in London, which they did a few years back, and they're reusing the wolf in this crazy like zombie scene. And this was awesome. The pumpkin there was a light projection, and it would talk to you when you walked up to it.
Oh, interesting.
So
that's so fun.
Can we talk about the weekend though? Like, which I thought was the weirdest idea for a haunted house. And I don't want to spend too much time on this, but Luke, what did you think about the weekend haunted house?
I thought it was all right. I mean, I think he's trying to kind of do kind of the Michael Jackson thing, even with like the red leather kind of look and stuff. Like it was cool, kind of like mixing kind of music, and it's like stylistically and the aesthetics of the whole thing were kind of cool the way they did it. But like as a haunted thing, it wasn't like necessarily that scary, but stylistically, I thought it was kind of cool to go through. But again, like that one, like right at the beginning was like 2 hours long, and most of the night was super long. And then at the end of the night, luckily it got down to kind of a shorter thing where I think it was around 30 to 40 minutes for us to get kind of to the front.
That was our final house, right?
I think so. Yeah, we tried to kind of zip our way to Halloween, but didn't quite make it. But
we kept on trying to wait out the line for Halloween because it looked like it was sort of slowly getting. It went from 2 hours and 10 minutes down to 1 hour and 45 minutes to one. And we're like, okay, it's going the right direction. And finally, it got down to where it was right at about an hour. We said, let's run over there. And then it dropped to 30 minutes real quick. I'm like, wow, you know why?
That one I actually pretty much videoed the whole thing going through. Like,
wait, we're talking about Halloween, and then we talked about we went running over there to see why the line was going down so quickly. They had closed the gates. They had closed the door to the Halloween house like 45 minutes to an hour prior to the park closing, which is Universal. If you're listening, that's not cool. Let us know you're going to do that because you kind of plan your night according to which line you can jump in. And as long as
why wouldn't they have like in the app where it says line is closing in 10 minutes or something? I don't know why they would just.
Yeah. And like we went running over there when it was still like 45 or 30 minutes left. And then as we're running back there and we were booking it, they said, sorry, we closed it like 45 minutes ago. We're like, what? That was kind of
that's why the line kept being shorter and shorter.
Well, I think we got there probably like 10 or 15 minutes left. And then it was, they closed it earlier in that, like
but when we were running over there,
take it off the board at that point, like because nobody else can get in.
Put the word closed on it instead of 30 minutes. Like when you see 30 minutes, you're like, hey, we can do that because you think if you get in line,
we could have done something else if we didn't spend that time.
But look, describe the weekend maze and why because people are wondering like, how is that possibly a horror maze? And you did send me a video. Do you have it with you? Can you?
I could get it for a second.
If you want to get it for a second, is it on your computer ready to show?
I can download it.
If you can download it and show it, just show us the beginning, because Natalie, I was kind of I was a skeptic. I was like,
I did not understand what this could possibly be about, and I had called it completely wrong in the beginning. I was like, oh, the weekend is going to be the shortest line the entire time, because who wants to go see that? I didn't understand.
Yeah. It was weird because you get inside and people are dancing around to his songs as he starts killing people. Other people start killing people. It's dark imagery. The very first image you see when you walk into the room, if Luke's able to pull this up, is he's sitting in a chair with all these medical devices out of his head. Basically, this is his worst nightmare. We're walking through his nightmare, and I did get an unsettling feeling, like it had, with the music playing and people screaming and the blood. There were some images I don't want to bring up. There were some images this past year at a certain, like a music festival, where some people were killed, and I remember seeing the close-up imagery of that. And I was like, it reminded me of that, and that's why it kind of hit me kind of off. I was like, this feels just a little bit not like what I was. Yeah, I don't think it was in poor taste. I think it hit me that way because of the videos that I saw about, there was a Texas concert with a well-known performer in it. It just kind of, anyways, Luke, do you have it? You don't need to look at that. This is as you walk in, and this is him sitting there, and I'm assuming basically we're about to experience his worst nightmare. And then we don't get very clear images for a while. If there's a way to jump ahead, go ahead and play a little bit of the music, Luke, so we can hear it, kind of what we're hearing. So for those of you just listening, there's a performance. He comes out on stage, ices a dancer's neck, she bleeds out, and then these weird people that are concert goers with their faces covered up. You can turn the music on.
Weird.
And the whole thing was kind of like that. It did get kind of scary towards the end, I remember, with a lot of people jumping out, but I liked it. It was unnerving, but I kind of liked it. And I think I liked it because it was so unnerving.
And I think that's
that's his
just kind of watching this. It's so confusing. I think we're so used to what we're.
I got really freaked out here. This headless body that looked like nothing jumped out and reached at me, that looked like a mannequin.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
I mean, to me, we don't see this stuff normally, so this is kind of interesting.
Yeah. Okay. So we're in this room. Everything had these bizarre. It was just like a fever dream, I guess, is the way to describe it.
I kind of like it.
Yeah, I did like it, but I said it was unsettling, but I guess that's the point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, look, listen to a little bit more music and see. Oh, wait. There he is dancing with the head. How did you get this video footage? Okay, I think it's linked up there. Oh, wait.
Yeah, the wallpaper at arm.
Oh.
Oh, I think it just went black.
And he mutated into some lizard guy.
Oh yeah, that's how it ended. I don't know what the point was with all the lizards at the end. All right, cool. That's good, Cheeseman. I think that's good. Okay. Let's go ahead and end.
I'm a little bit disappointed I didn't go in that one.
Look at these things. What are those? It's like Terrifier a little bit in there. Yeah. Wait. I want to. Can we cut back to Natalie for a second? Wait a second.
No, of course, he's not going to be here.
Sorry.
Do you want me to get this off the screen?
Wait. Yeah. Okay. I want to see Natalie as a guest. Who's the guest?
My Terrifier or my cat?
No. Right there. Your little guest, right? That you're petting on.
This is my cat. This is Charles. Say hello.
Also, a point. Yeah, I wanted to point out behind Natalie, one of her favorite characters, and who is that?
That's the Terrifier.
The little doll's even creepier. It's like little Freddy.
Oh my God. I know. I'm gonna. I'm going to show him off.
4 or 5.
Look at how cute he
That's
is, you guys.
She says it's his cute.
I love him with his little saw.
I can't. No. That's the worst scene in movie history. I think that's so awful.
I love it so much. I'm gonna go close up of his face, and his eyes are pretty detailed.
And this is what you keep by your bed for comfort. That's
exactly. He won't go into storage. I'm gonna say that for sure. He's gonna live in this apartment after Halloween.
All right. So as we wrap up this section of the show. Wait. Andy said one of his favorite mazes that they did was Silent Hill because it's on a video. Oh, that was from. I don't think they did that this year, but they did that in years past. So overall, I think it was a pretty satisfying experience. It was a little bit expensive, crazy crowded. I wish that I did ask one of the guys at the ticket counter, so why is it so crowded? And he says it's just pent up demand. They didn't have as many people last year because of COVID, because we went last year and you had to wear the mask and you had to be vaccinated and stuff. So this was a different kind of year for them.
Yeah. And I do want to say I was an employee there for about 50 minutes while we were in one of the lines. They had me hold a card that said what time we got in line, and I had to give it to one of the attendants when we went into the maze. And I said, so you're counting on me to pass this information along to one of your other employees. Do I get a front of line pass? What do I get as a reward? And they said nothing. And I said, that's rude.
For the better good of Halloween Horror Nights. You're a good citizen.
I was a good citizen. The accuracy of that line was great. Not like Halloween. So somebody obviously dropped the ball, or Blumhouse, somebody dropped the ball on that line.
Oh, that one was awful. Yeah.
Somebody who got the card did not pass.
Yep. I think, though, they had a shift change in the middle of us standing in that line. It was supposed to be 55 minutes, but it ended up being an hour and a half. So that was a bit of a... All right.
Some of the stuff they had people do seemed exhausting. I was like, how are people... in the Universal Monsters, real quick, there was a guy kind of turning into a werewolf.
Oh, yeah.
That was all of his physicalities and motions and screaming. I was like, how do you do this for even 20 minutes? I would be done.
Yeah.
Wild.
It was good. I enjoyed it.
People do anything for
$20. All right. So that is Universal Studios Hollywood Halloween Horror Nights. It goes on select nights through October 31st. You can expect it will be crowded right now. So if you're going, let us know what you think. All right. Next on our weekend of Halloween fun was what's the next thing we did? And Natalie did not join us on this one, so we're going to tell her about it. This is Son of Monsterpalooza, one of the big horror conventions that happens here every Halloween. This is the sister convention, or the brother convention, since the son of Monsterpalooza. Monsterpalooza happens in Pasadena, I think, around May, and then Son of Monsterpalooza happens in September or October. Cheeseman, your overall impression, because we have a couple of pictures we can share for this.
I mean, they're always cool, these little smaller ones to kind of just pop into. It's not like something you like. I didn't feel like I need multiple days unless there was panels and stuff I wanted to see, which there might have been. I didn't look too closely at the programming, but the floor was fun. There was a lot of people in costume. They had some different actors there, big names too. And I ended up meeting Anthony Michael Hall and got his signature sign of a Breakfast Club thing, and talked to him a couple times, which was cool. So the people were pretty friendly, and the cast, the actors, and all that. And then there's a lot of Michael Myers, which those watching the video are seeing on screen. There were several Michael Myers there. That was a lot of fun.
I want to show you a character, Natalie, and see if you recognize this one, because this is one I thought one of the coolest things of the day was. See if you recognize who this is.
Ooh, yes.
Deep cut.
Oh.
Here, I'll give you a clue. Because let me see. I keep on see if I can do this. Present.
Is it Rocky Horror?
No. He did. Let me see. No. Here we go.
I love talking to people, even on a rainy day. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Henry Kane, Reverend Kane, and I am here to sell for free the message.
So I'm freezing right here. He is in a chair. I mean, no, sorry. This is Preacher Kane from Poltergeist 2.
Oh.
The original Poltergeist 2. He's the old preacher man who was basically a ghost, a creature trying to steal back Carol Ann. And if you are watching, he is actually talking to the actor who played the young son in Poltergeist 1 and 2. That's Robbie. And so they had this was really cool. They had this whole room set up. Let me get rid of this. So anyways, they had, oh, wait. I'm going to get rid of this because we have somebody joining us. How can I get rid of, here we go. Remove and welcome to the show, Mr. Jonathan Wilkinson on the road. How you doing?
Hello, everybody. How's it going?
It's going
Can you hear
well.
me all right?
Yes.
Hello.
Please.
Where's the trucker hat?
No trucker hat. Never.
Jonathan, please tell me you're not driving right now.
Oh, no, of course not.
Okay.
He had to double check that he wasn't driving.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just sitting here.
Jonathan drives a truck, and he also was out here for the weekend. Jonathan, we just talked about Halloween Horror Nights, and I think you missed that part. No, you were actually chiming in a little bit, but
Yeah, I was listening along.
tell me what your favorite part of was of Son of Monsterpalooza, which was your first time attending the show.
So Son of Monsterpalooza, obviously Twin Peaks, of course.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
Cheryl Lynn. Yeah, I got to meet her. That was fantastic. She grew up in Boulder a little bit, so we talked for a little while about that. I briefly passed by Anthony Michael Hall, so just smelling Anthony Michael Hall was good enough for me. Yeah, it was great. It was fantastic. That was actually the second time I've been to Son of Monsterpalooza. I have a photo on my Facebook or Instagram from a long time ago, like 5 years ago, going for the first time, and I got an autograph and a photo with the first zombie that you see in Night of the Living Dead, and I believe the writer of Night of the Living Dead, not George A. Romero, but I think it was the co-writer or somebody like that. So yeah, it was awesome.
That's right, because I forgot you used to live here.
I did, yeah.
I
Right down the
all
street.
about that.
Right down the street from the Burbank Marriott. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
I do have a picture that I'm trying to upload right now, but tell them about the autograph that you got.
Oh yeah, from Cheryl Lee, I think, right? That's her name.
Yep.
That's it. Yeah, it was fantastic. From Twin Peaks fame. She's the girl that's of course murdered in the very beginning of Twin Peaks. And she's awesome. She's super cool, super chill. Yeah, it was just a great time. It was fantastic.
And although we finished the section of the show, we're about to move on because we have a big topic to discuss. Halloween Horror Nights. What was your overall impression of Halloween Horror Nights this year?
Well, you guys were talking crap about the weekend. I loved it.
About the what? Oh, you like that one?
Yeah, no, it was okay. It was.
No, I don't think we weren't talking crap about it.
No,
I was talking crap about my thoughts of what it could be.
Yeah.
But I'm very impressed with what I saw. Not in person, but in your videos.
Honestly, it was fun up until we stood in line for like an hour about, and you hear the same 3 songs over and over and over and over and over again.
Oh yeah.
So that really kind of drove me nuts, but I really enjoyed it. I thought the weekend was fun. I thought Killer Clowns from Outer Space was probably the most like true to life, I think, walkthrough that they had. I really wanted to go through. Yeah, that was a good one. I really wanted to go through La Lorena, but of course we didn't have time. And then of course Halloween. But I would say also what you guys were saying, the Nope set and everything like that. That was amazing seeing that in person. So
all right. So we're gonna shift back to Monsterpalooza, Son of Monsterpalooza, real quick before we jump on. Cheeseman, here's that picture of you and Anthony Michael Hall.
Both of us with crunched chins in the photo. We look great. No, he looked good in person. Such a nice guy. Here's the
here you go.
sign picture
Wait,
here. Really cool dude. So I'm hoping we get to meet Jed Nelson sometime because he was in a movie that me and Jim wrote on. So if there is a screening or something for that and he's there, I may try to take this with me.
I know Judd Nelson was in a movie that we have written. I'm so excited about that. I have one more video to share. I'm sorry, I'm not doing a good job sharing these videos because it's kind of this is a new skill that I have learned, and obviously I haven't learned it very well. I want to share this video file of here we go. I think this is a video that you took, Luke, during wait, not that one. This one. This one's kind of cool. This is like they were lining up for the costume contest. I don't know what that was about.
I think I was a little hot.
Yeah, but it was kind of the costumes here are pretty outstanding.
Wow.
Like when you go to Comic-Con, you see some pretty outstanding stuff. But I love the fact that most of them here
like
were
the
all
makeup and stuff.
Yes, look at that all horror thing. Look at this guy right
Ooh.
here. Oh, I just love it. I love it. I just wanted to show that because that was really cool. And last but not least,
do we lose John?
I'm sorry.
Do we lose John?
It looks like we did.
Oh.
But last but not least, the wonderful part. I think Jonathan is joining back. There, he's back.
Sorry about that.
No worries. So, Jonathan, tell us what you think about the after party.
Oh, the after morgue? You mean the after nothingness?
This is awful.
After absolutely nothing. Yeah, it was pretty tough. I mean, the singer was great. The band was great. But it felt like we were back in like COVID days where they're like, no moving, you can't dance, you can't do anything, can't mingle. Just
look at the way they have the room set up for those of you who are watching. You're still sitting in like theater style.
Like a panel with a band.
Yeah,
I'd be so uncomfortable if I was the band.
They had a bar at the back of the room, but nobody was going to it because you had to like walk down aisles, and it was just bizarre. It was just the most uncomfortable party. The rest of it was pretty cool, but that was not it. Anything else we want to say about Son of Monsterpalooza? It was a cool 2 days. Oh, wait. I do want to say this. A couple things. One, I bought this item at Son of Monsterpalooza. This is an old-timey face mask. Back in the 70s and 80s, Ben Cooper was the distributor of all these, they call it these window box Halloween costumes. I had Frankenstein for probably 3 or 4 years, probably, and this is just something very nostalgic. I'm going to put it by my bar, and it's just kind of a fun thing that it's a throwback to the old timey days when they made those kind of masks. Also, this was kind of cool. Natalie, are you familiar with Screamfest at all?
Of course I am. That's where Fear Inc. premiered.
That's right. That first time I went to Screamfest is at.
Well, that was the Los Angeles premiere. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It premiered at Tribeca, technically, but
They really had a big presence at Son of Monsterpalooza this year, along with this little film called 8 Found Dead, which is the very first film listed in the program for Screamfest. It has its premiere this week, starring our very own friend, Patrick Joseph Rieger.
No way!
We got the screening right now, I think.
Yeah, it's going on right this second as we speak. We're missing it. He's gonna hate us, but we already saw the film. We saw kind of an unfinished version of the film. It's a pretty good film. You guys need to check it out. 8 Found Dead. It's really cool. It's basically the premise is what happens if you drive for hours out into the desert to an Airbnb to meet some friends, and you show up and somebody's already there, somebody that doesn't want you there and they would rather have you dead. So it's kind of a crazy concept. And the fact it's called 8 Found Dead, when people start dying in your head, you're sitting here thinking, okay, there's 4, there's 5. It's cool because it makes you think, okay, who's going to live? Who's going to not live in this one? I think.
Are there more than 8 people that go there?
I'm not going to tell you.
Okay.
No, there's only 6. So it's really a weird title.
Well, I'm not going to tell you right here. I don't want to ruin the film. Anyways, it was a good evening. All right. So we are going to leave Son of Monsterpalooza and jump into kind of what probably most everyone wants to talk about on the show tonight. Jonathan, you are welcome to stay as long as you like. But did you ever finish watching Halloween Ends?
No, I didn't. I woke up, I got on a plane, and then I had to be in this truck about 2 hours later after I landed, so I didn't get much sleep, and I just drove all night. So, and now here I am.
We're sponsored by Amazon Prime.
Sponsored by Amazon Prime. That's my entire life right there. All right, guys. Well, I am gonna get going, but it was great. I loved seeing you all. Natalie, you're one of my new favorite people. So yeah, it goes. I think it goes Luke, Natalie, Jim now.
Oh, cool.
No, I'm kidding. You're all at the same level. Come on. I gotta go put that thing into one of these.
Top 3's still
places.
good, Jim.
Gotcha.
All right, Jonathan, it was awesome hanging with this weekend. We'll talk to you soon, my friend.
Yeah, I can't wait to do it again, guys. All right.
Bye-bye.
Sounds fun.
All right, Halloween Ends. This is what we're about to talk about. Let me give you a little bitty summary.
Laurie I feel like Strode. I need a new scotch.
All right. Laurie Strode, the original final girl, faces down her masked nemesis while struggling to protect her granddaughter from a new threat in this latest entry in the John Carpenter horror franchise. That's putting it nicely. Basically, this is what it's about. There's a brand new character introduced. His name is Corey. He babysits a kid at the beginning of this movie who has been having night terrors since the carnage of the previous year. So it starts off 1 year later after the Halloween kills. So Corey is there. He's babysitting. This kid plays a prank on Corey that goes terribly wrong, resulting in a really bad, terrible tragedy. Corey becomes an outcast, sort of like Laurie Strode is now an outcast in this town because the town blames her for luring and enraging Michael Myers, which is odd to me. Laurie is now living a seemingly happy, carefree life in a brand new house, baking pies, writing a memoir, and trying to steer her granddaughter into a productive, happy life. But alas, the killings in Haddonfield start anew. But this time it isn't just Michael we have to worry about, as evil has found a new home. All right, guys, we are going to actually talk constructively about the film as well as we can.
Circle of love in the beginning.
So, yeah, usually in our screenwriting groups, we have what's called a circle of love. You start, if you're giving feedback on a screenplay, the things that you thought perhaps worked well, or at least were well-intentioned. I would love to start actually on this one with Luke, because Luke, I think you might have more circle of love than Natalie has.
Okay. So one of the things I'd say that I really kind of liked in the movie was that, there was kind of a passage of time, because I think Michael Myers works good as kind of like he's the boogeyman. He's legend. And there was a little, by adding that 5-year gap, they kind of did that. And it was kind of cool how the police would discover other bodies and people try to make it seem like it was Michael Myers, but then be like, oh no, Michael doesn't use a gun or different things.
Wait. Should we preface this that, guys, we're going full on spoiler here. This will not be a spoiler-free review, as evidenced by what Luke is already treading in. We're going to spoil everything. So if you don't want to be spoiled, come back and watch this podcast after you see the movie.
Or maybe we're saving you hours of your life. Or maybe we're saving you time.
All right, go ahead, Luke.
All right, so continuing on. I would say Jamie Lee Curtis was definitely one of the best parts about it. I mean, she, regardless of what we think of the movie, I really feel like she kind of gave her all and really, put herself kind of into the performance. And there was even moments that you saw a little more of her real personality in it, because, she would talk about how in real life she wasn't a lot like Laurie Strode, where she was kind of shy, kind of quiet, good girl to herself, where she was more the loud, fun, where there's moments in this where she kind of could be kind of jokey, like, no, you need to go out with this boy. And she was being a little more of her real self and throwing a little more kind of personality versus kind of the first, couple films. She was very heavy kind of the whole time, and just very kind of serious, where I've always liked H2O Jamie. That's kind of the personality of what I would see her being in the future. And that's what I love. But there was a little bit of that in this one, which I do appreciate. And, having some of the characters from the original in there, and then even bringing in a potential kind of love interest for her was kind of an interesting thing that they were going to do.
Mr. Strawberries.
Yeah.
Natalie, if we had to twist your arm.
Okay. So I do have, I guess, some good things to say.
Okay.
One, yes, I totally agree with you, Luke, that I think this, I actually thought felt like a continuation of Laurie post H2O. Like
Right.
the personality felt very connected to that, and had that character kind of continued, this would have been the version we had seen. And I was like, I actually am enjoying this because there was no fun in the other movies, which is what I was expecting with Danny McBride and David Gordon Green coming aboard the project. I wanted more fun with it. So this felt like the first time that there was a little bit of fun with it. I loved the romantic connection. We only saw about 3 minutes total of that at the beginning and at the end. And so it's like this was never developed any further throughout the movie, which was very frustrating. So it's like there's good things, and then it's immediately followed by a ton of bad stuff. So it's like it's not enough good to redeem what had what they did to it. And I honestly didn't dislike the opening and kind of build of Corey's story.
I like the cold open. I thought that was pretty jarring.
I thought it was very jarring, and I thought this would be a really interesting fourth movie of we've put Michael Myers to bed, and now this is our new bad guy.
100%.
But it's like
we
have spent, this is supposed to be the trilogy of Michael Myers, and now we've almost removed him from the majority of this movie to kind of focus on Corey, which he hasn't earned what we ended up getting to.
No.
And all of his character development, it was so shocking how quick he made decisions to get to this point, where it's like, that isn't a bad story. And when, especially when, if you take this trilogy and you talk about what this town did and kind of, you know, how they tracked down Michael Myers in the second film and just kind of this mob mentality, you can see how they could have done that to him. But this would have been in the next set of movies, potentially, you know, not this movie.
It was almost as if, and I think I was reading this somewhere, Haddonfield itself was a character. Haddonfield itself was traumatized, and Haddonfield was traumatizing its citizens. And Corey, and we're talking about Corey, he's the brand new character introduced in this film. He is a babysitter at the beginning. A child dies while in his care. It's a jarring, kind of probably one of the best constructed scenes of the film, because it really does.
And the fact that he was a babysitter, because it kind of went back to the roots of the babysitting and stuff that was in the original.
And then after that, Corey starts kind of being the subject of all the bullying in town, all the picking on, and he's a 21-year-old man, and people start kind of just terrorizing him, and he starts going downhill. And as he's going downhill, he gets in a fight, gets thrown over a ledge, lands next to a drainage pipe, and somebody is living in that drainage pipe, has been there for 4 years, and pulls Corey in, and for some unexplained reason doesn't kill him, but lets him wake up and then just chokes him, and then looks, we're talking about Michael Myers, looks Corey deep into the eye, and evil is transferred at that moment. There's the inference that the evil of Michael Myers infects Corey. Can we talk for a second? Corey himself. Let's remove the Halloween franchise burden from this film and just talk about Corey as a character. What do you think about his development as a character?
There wasn't enough time.
Exactly.
I think the whole reboot of this franchise had been Corey.
Yeah.
And we had put some time into like developing him as the new Michael Myers. That could have been interesting. Like even remove Laurie, remove any of like the old character. Had this been the new version, I probably would have been okay with that. I'm not mad at his start and who this character is. It's like the shoving it down my throat that I'm supposed to buy within 15 minutes. Yeah. He's fallen in love and, you know, completely, you know, thrown everything out the window and is like ready to set everything on fire. Like it just doesn't make any sense. Like you're actually catching a break for the first time meeting this girl. I don't understand why now is the moment where it's like, you haven't been understood this entire time. And now that you have been, you're ready to burn it all down.
Yeah.
Yeah, and their relationship just did not seem to connect. There was like not like a real chemistry besides just like, oh, we feel like outcasts. Let's fall. Like Stranger Things does such a better job of like the guy that's kind of getting bullied, camera gets broken by Steve, Nancy kind of steps in, and then they're kind of subtly kind of, built those relationships to her being with him and like all that. But this just did not
meet cute. Stretching to find any kind of connection. I mean, yes.
And Brad says the franchise now is officially ended with H2O for him.
I don't disagree.
I'll take that.
And last comment from Brad, I really wanted to love or like this movie. Y'all know I went in excited thinking they were seeing an amazing ending to the franchise. We didn't get that.
We did not.
Natalie?
Anyways, it's like, so we went from meet cute to they're in love and trying to figure out how they're going to conquer this world together. And I'm like, how did this happen? And it's like, even their first date is they go to a Halloween party. So by the time of events unfold on Halloween, I'm like, it's been a week. Like, I know I've fallen pretty fast, but not that fast that I'm ready to just like throw away my life in that amount of time. It just
but it's not just him though. What about
her too?
The granddaughter of all things? She is falling for this guy that every time he shows up, he's more beaten up. And like, doesn't that concern you at all, Alice?
And there being no hints that like maybe she's troubled in past movies or I don't know, or liked the bad boy. I don't know. It just didn't seem, again, everything about this movie was unearned. Every story point, every character arc was completely unearned.
What about, can we talk about just the setting of the film? Laurie Strode, for some she buys a house in Haddonfield. Her daughter has been killed. Her son-in-law has been killed. Multiple deaths. The kid she babysit, I guess, and Anthony Michael Hall was killed. What was his name again? Billy? Tommy was killed. All these people were killed. She had spent the last 40 years locked up in a house, terrified of the fact that Michael Myers might come back, even though she knew that he was locked up in an insane asylum. He escapes and kills people, including her own daughter. And what does she do? Then she decides to come out of her fortress, buy a house in the middle of town, start making pumpkin pies or apple pies and writing a memoir. Okay. That's strange to me that she's not.
I was like, how is she all of a sudden okay?
Yeah.
Like how strung out and crazy and wild they were building her character up to be, to now just with the flip of a switch, she's fine.
Yeah.
Well, maybe her daughter and husband had really good life insurance, and now she's like a millionaire.
But it also looked like she bought a house next to one of the condemned houses.
Yeah.
Did anybody else notice that?
Oh,
it was I don't know how close she was to any of like the murder houses, but it looked like it was like a property that was like taped off.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wasn't sure if that was like a scene that was cut out. I don't know.
Just like the scene that they cut out that they should never have cut out was.
I can't wait for the extended cut.
Was tearing down of the Michael Myers house. They just kind of threw it. Oh, we tore down the house. Really? We want to see that happening. You don't just say that.
Yeah.
The fans want to see this. Let me ask you this. Does this feel like a well, first of all, what did you think of the development of Jamie Lee Curtis's character the 4 years since? That's what we're talking about now. Did it seem earned or natural, or did it seem bizarre?
Unearned.
Yeah. Where do you think she would be after the last two films?
I feel like she would have moved to like Florida
Alaska.
And like somewhere else with like her granddaughter and like, let's try and make a life here. You know?
Yep. And I would have liked that so much more. That would have made sense. Like Michael Myers travels to Maine or something like that. What about
H2O when she's somewhere else and she's changed her name and
Of course, we have to ask ourselves, is there any reason why Michael would be coming for her? It used to be because they were related.
Exactly.
Why is Jamie Lee Curtis? Why is Laurie Strode the center of his wrath.
Well, in this movie, he's not.
Right.
He gave up. He's living in a fucking sewer.
Okay, let me ask you this. Does this movie feel like a Halloween film? How does it feel like a Halloween film?
It feels like a Halloween 5 or 6 film.
No, those films felt more like Halloween, I think.
Did they? But the plot and the idea for this felt so like one of those films that was like just made number 5 or 6 kind of thing. It was just like, what kind of storyline is this? Like it did not feel like something that would be like made today. And this whole Batman and Robin thing with him and Michael, like, show me how to do it. Like it was so weird.
Can you explain what you're talking about there?
Alone, that Michael would be teaming up and doing like group kills. You know,
I literally during that scene was like, is this supposed to be like the Batman Begins scene where he's like getting his training? Is this what you're trying to do here? It was
I agree. Like they went to kill the doctor and the nurse, and they each got one of them as they watched the other one kill. It was bizarre. Like, I don't know why. Why was Michael doing this? Was it because I think they were hinting because you saw he was deteriorating. He was getting older. He wasn't as strong.
Like he's getting his strength back from them.
Yeah, and as he kills, like the first time that somebody is killed, you see Michael, he vibrates a little bit. He shakes. So I watched that. I was like, oh, is that supposed to be it's like a salamander. He's grown a new tail that's been cut off or something.
Maybe he just wanted somebody to go trick-or-treating with him his whole life. And as his kid, his sister didn't take him. And then here comes this kid and willing to go out on Halloween with him.
It's like Brad said, it was like Friday the 13th part 4 or 5 when it was not Jason, but it was the ambulance driver. I agree. Like we didn't know who was the killer at some points. And let's be honest, how afraid of Corey were you really? I mean, he killed some people.
Never.
Okay. But he was a smarmy little complaining crybaby. And I just think
I mean, okay, so the kids that were picking on him, let's get this straight, were band kids.
Yes.
You know.
My friend Laurel was making fun of that the whole time. Like, why is he getting bullied by band kids? Like, she kept making fun of it last
like
night.
a very odd choice. Like, it was very weird. And then the one girl in the friend group the whole time was like, leave him alone. Like, she was getting pissed about it. And it was, it was so confusing.
So USA Today had this to say about if this felt like a Halloween film. Just one paragraph. Halloween Ends is a Halloween film, complete with one brutally visceral kitchen fight for all the marbles between Laurie and Michael. But for much of it, it doesn't want to be a Halloween film. There are a couple of standout kills, yet the movie embraces a more domestic drama angle as Laurie and Allison's household friction rises higher on the priority list than the scary movie aspects. Basically, there are people who like this film, believe it or not, and they like it because it swung for the fences, it took risks, and it dared to be something that was not Halloween-like. What do you think about that?
That could be a Halloween new version, not the end of a trilogy.
Yeah.
But you know what? I think it perfectly paid homage to what this trilogy was, a trash fire.
Okay, let's talk about that. I did not. It's so weird. After watching this film, I went back and thought, wow, 2018's Halloween wasn't so bad, even though I didn't like it.
Do you think that was the intention?
Maybe. I don't know.
Halloween Kills was actually not as bad. You know, like that is actually watchable, kind of.
No, but okay. Let me just. Hollywood Reporter had this to say. Is David Gordon Green trolling us? The director rescued John Carpenter's game-changing slasher classic from the dumpster of disposable sequels by going back to the core mythology in 2018's Halloween. He then sacrificed any goodwill that reboot earned by sidelining Jamie Lee Curtis and abandoning narrative coherence for random, unimaginative mayhem in 2021's witless Halloween Kills. They're not pulling any punches here. And then they say, the conclusion of this trilogy, Halloween Ends, which promises the final face-off between Laurie Strode and her psycho stalker Michael Myers just seems to throw his hands in the air and surrender. That's the Hollywood Reporter. Boy, they didn't pull any punches.
And I understand, like, okay, maybe you don't want to make some obvious choices, but that's also a little bit of what fans are there for. That's what they're buying tickets for. I think when you do something like you cast Kyle Richards to come back as Lindsay, she's a massive reality Real Housewives of Beverly Hills star. People want to see her get killed on film. And it's like, she completely gets abandoned in this movie. There's no like continuation of her story. I don't understand why do we even have her in this movie then?
This is true.
Don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't get it. So it's like, I get not making obvious choices, but it's like at a certain point, you're like literally not even making the choices people want you to make.
Yeah. Can I, as a filmmaker, Natalie, as a producer, this script had to go through multiple approvals to get to where it is now.
This is what angers me. This is absolutely the thing that has driven the anger I've had in me all day long and all last night, because it's not easy to get a movie made. It really isn't. And it's something like this where it's like, I understand maybe they didn't have the third script written when they were making the first film. Maybe they wanted to test and see how the success was there. But it's how, I don't care how successful David Gordon Green and Danny McBride and Jason Blum have been in their careers outside of this franchise. How the hell did this get past anybody, any executive putting in money going, what is happening here, you guys? Like, this is not a story. Like, let's get back down to the core of what the story is. That doesn't make any sense.
Right.
And it's the fact that it's like, I've never even been in a development meeting where it's like an executive is fine that you introduce a love interest that you never bring back ever again. I don't understand how this happens. Like, I, in a way, almost want to read the script with so much did have to get cut. Is that what the problem is? I don't understand. I really don't know how this was allowed to get made.
Yeah, it's such an easy premise to like make something just fun and like Halloween night, a stalking and killing.
Yeah.
A guy in a mask, like it, just keep it simple and make different
and it's
characters.
Not like the reviews and, fan feeling about the first or second allowed them to have carte blanche to do whatever that they wanted. Those were pretty like scrutinized.
Yeah.
So it's like you would think that they would put more attention on making sure that the third one satisfied those fans, but instead it was just like everybody gave up after the first movie and just was like, well, it's already ruined. We've already committed this money and nobody gave a shit. That's how it felt.
It does. I agree. Listen, so like the New York Times, here's how they end their review of the original 1978 Halloween. This just a couple sentences. Carpenter pointedly ends the movie with a montage of empty spaces, bare rooms, abandoned streets, a darkened house. His signature propulsive synthesizer music, which has become perhaps the most influential aesthetic contribution to the current vogue of horror, is playing as the breathing of Michael Myers gets louder. You hear the air go in his mouth and then escape. He's everywhere and he's nowhere. Brilliant ending to a brilliant movie in 1978. 2018, it ruined for me the whole mystique of that original movie by saying Michael Myers no longer is everywhere. He walked outside and got captured 10 seconds after the end of that movie, and he's been held captive for 40 years. We know where he's been. And so I just felt the first movie was kind of ruined. Michael Myers has been in this insane asylum for 40 years. He escapes, and I don't care. And then part 2, he just slaughters mercilessly. I don't care. Part 3, we're introduced to a brand new character who dominates 75% of this movie. It's like, it's this character study of this new character. Michael Myers is a side character in this movie who shows up in the last 10 minutes just because he has to. And I don't know. It to me is like, if you're doing a Mission Impossible movie
and Ving Rhames and Jeremy Renner are 75% of the movie. I mean, like, maybe that wouldn't be a bad movie, but people are there for Tom Cruise. Like, it just, that's what people are there for, is for real Michael Myers. And if this is a story you wanted us to buy into, as much as we don't like it, this is a story we did buy into. And now we're not even getting that for most of the third movie. It's, ugh. I feel disrespected.
No.
I feel like I have wasted 6 hours of my life, and
that's a good point to make.
I never feel this way. I am the easiest audience member anybody could have in a movie. So it's like, for me to feel this pissed is very not normal.
Where's this on the martini scale?
Oh my!
I mean, way more, like 6, 7, 8 martinis.
I
had to do a scotch just to talk about it tonight.
I would love to have Natalie and our friend Lena come in and do a review of Halloween Kills with their martinis.
Oh my God.
I don't think you guys. Hey, I do have to say this. I think it's probably unfair and maybe a little disingenuous to compare any Halloween sequel to the original Halloween. I mean, it's like comparing Jaws 2 or 3 or 4 to the original masterpiece, or Indiana Jones 4, or Star Wars 8, or Godfather Part 2. Just kidding. That one's really, really good. But Halloween Ends not only doesn't live up to the original, it doesn't even seem like it tries to live up to the original. Some people are praising it because they're saying of its inventiveness, it's swinging for the fences, it's something new. But I'm here to tell you, when it's the final matchup between Laurie Strode and Michael Myers, the culmination of 13 films, 44 years, we don't want something brand new. We want Michael Myers. We want Michael Myers a lot. We want him to creep. I mean, do not try something new. Fans want a return to Haddonfield. They want the classic. They want the shape. But what we got instead was some pseudo-artsy attempt to explore the nature of evil and if it can be contagious. Meditations on a town scarred by trauma. We got to attempt at something meaningful and deep, therapeutic almost, but when all we wanted was Michael Myers. That's my take on it. And I think they missed, not just by a little bit, they weren't even pointing towards the goal. And I don't know what I don't know what the thinking was behind this movie and saying, I guess I do. What would happen to a town after 45 years of trauma? I don't know.
But is this movie about Haddonfield? Then it should have been called Haddonfield, not Halloween.
By the way, Natalie, aren't you the one who suggested that a TV series would be a good continuation of the franchise? Are you the one who
I did not, but I would love to take credit for that.
And just call it Haddonfield.
But honestly, imagine a TV series with Corey called Haddonfield. That's something I'd watch. That's absolutely something I would continue watching.
Yeah.
And give it the time to, and honestly, again, had this franchise been rebooted and Corey was the opening scene of movie 1, and this is what we're building for 3 movies, I'm in. I would be in for that. But this is just completely unearned and shoved down my throat when it's like, guess what? I'm not that stupid, and neither is the rest of the audience. As much as people want to think audiences are that stupid, we know what we've been buying into for 3 movies. This wasn't it.
Luke, do you have any closing thoughts on Halloween Ends? Some final thoughts.
Halloween Resurrection.
Oh my gosh. Halloween Resurrection is no longer the worst film in the franchise.
Oh my gosh.
Honestly, H2O was on right before we started this podcast, and I had it on, and it's such a good movie.
It is good.
And it's like the false ends, and when you think she's killed him, and then she kills him another way, and then she kills him another way. It's just like, that's the battle. That's the battle we want to see.
Like John says, less is more.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wait. This is what Brad said. He goes, this could have been the Elm Street 3 Dream Warriors end to this franchise if they had put the effort and fandom's wishes into honoring the legacy of these characters in the films with a good script and a That's a good point. Like, that's a really good point. That's a really good point. All right. So I don't think we're going to solve it today. I'm suggesting to Natalie if she'd like to come back and we could do the 10 ways we could save the Halloween franchise. I think we could do a really good job there. But yeah, Lily, didn't Michael get his head cut off in one of the movies?
Yes, in H2O.
Lily, so he got his head cut off in H2O.
Until Resurrection ruined that.
Yeah, but then they decided to bring him back.
But that's the thing about these movies, which again I was fine with, of like, okay, let's pretend like 2 Through the Rest did not exist. So this was just based off of the first original Halloween. This would be the next start of it. So
right, I agree. I would love if they. I'm one of those that I love the sister trilogy, and I would love if they would do they would pretend as if 3 Through the Rest don't exist. I would love to see Michael Myers survive the fire, kind of like they did in H2 on Halloween 4, but do it better. I don't, and you know what? As much as everybody loves Jamie Lee Curtis, and I do love her, and I do love the Laurie Strode character, we don't need Laurie Strode to be the center of the Michael Myers universe. People are coming for Michael Myers, and I love Jamie Lee Curtis. She did a great job. Brad said the best part of this movie was that her hair looked better. I do admit it did.
Yes. Although I have to say, she makes this whole statement about how she cut her hair off and it's the same effing length. I don't understand what these writers are doing. I don't get it. I'm like, even a joke doesn't even earn, like, it's not even earned. I don't understand.
It was thinned out more before it was a lot bigger.
But she makes this whole thing about how she just like one day was like, I gotta chop it off. And I was like, it's literally this. Had she had her normal Jamie Lee Curtis hair, that makes sense. That joke is funny then. This is, I'm like, you guys can't even make a joke. I don't even understand. I don't understand. And what a disservice to Jamie Lee Curtis these 3 movies have been. Wow.
You know, I think as well, I was like, Jamie Lee Curtis, she speaks praises on the movie. And
I don't think one can shit on a movie that you're doing active press on.
Yeah. This is true.
I think that was her best acting performance ever, is doing press for these movies and acting like she got emotional over these. And this is
I mean, also, wouldn't you get emotional if this is the franchise that launched your career and it was 40 years ago? You're naturally going to get emotional and a little bit clumped on that anyway. So it's like, I think she rode that through as like her story. And I think when she talks about, like, I'm not going to really get into detail. I've said everything I've wanted to say. It's because she doesn't have anything nice to say about this movie.
But also, there is the thing about, like, when you're involved with the production, like, she's probably been reading the scripts for years. She's been involved. When you're in the middle of it, sometimes it's hard to see on the outside of it and say, you know what? That's not the best idea. I wonder when she first received this script, if it was more of they had to talk her into it, like, yeah, this is cool. Or what if she thought, you know, as an actor, this seems interesting. This is a whole new direction. Because most of the good comments have been, it's new, it's inventive. They're not doing the same thing over again, which I don't think that's necessarily a compliment to say we're doing the final Halloween thing and we're doing something completely new. If you're doing something completely new, don't call it Halloween. Go make a different movie. Let Halloween be Halloween. And that's my biggest complaint about this. This wasn't a Halloween film. It was just bizarre.
Yeah, I want to know who's writing checks and I want to write them a letter.
All right, Natalie, let's make a better movie. Luke, Natalie, any closing thoughts? We got to close that up, guys.
I think I said everything I needed to say.
I have too. Hey, listen, everybody, thank you for tuning in tonight. We talked about Halloween Horror Nights. We talked about Son of Monsterpalooza, and we talked about Halloween Ends. All 3 of those things involved one of our favorite characters in horror cinema, Michael Myers. We don't feel as if he had a proper send-off, but let's be honest. Is he really gone? No, he'll be back, and I just can't wait until a better production team gets a hold of Michael Myers and does something kind of cool. Anyways, my name is Jim. You can find me on Instagram at James D. Fry, on Twitter at Jim Fry LA. Cheeseman, what about you?
Yes, this is Cheeseman here. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Cheese on Couch, and also on thescareguy.com.
Natalie.
And I'm Natalie at Natalie Michelli on Instagram. I don't do the tweets, so that's where you're going to find me.
Twitter's such an angry place these days. Anyways, thank you guys for tuning in. Have a great rest of your Halloween. We'll be back, and maybe we'll come back and try to save the Halloween universe. Anyways, see everybody later. Bye-bye.